Hit the field, blast off, watch 'em all fall. This is AFC North talk. Got me hype, it's about to be a touchdown. Got the Ravens, Steelers, Bengals, and the Browns. Are you listening? It's time to get it hype. Tune in when the season poppin'. Yeah, we going live. Hey, knock 'em out. Ay, first down, going hard. Yes, indeed. AFC North talk. Let's go. Hey, AFC North talk.
Welcome to another edition of AFC North Talk. We here. Q's should be coming in a little bit, but we're here. Two really good games. We're talking about these two games were 1 point difference each. It's kind of crazy too. I feel like the Ravens played like a year ago. It's weird. Like I like when we play Thursday because then on Sunday I'm just vibing, right? But at the same time, I feel like we played so long ago. We didn't even have a bye, but I feel like we played forever ago. Anyway, we'll get started here real quick. Before that, Super Chat here for Play on the Review. You know who Play on the Review is? He says, "Hello, darkness, my old friend." Oh no, it's me again. Hello, darkness, it's me again. With that, we're gonna start. Bengals, Ravens. Look, Bengals fans, if you weren't divisional opponents, I'll actually be feeling bad. I will say, if you weren't my divisional opponents, I'll be feeling bad. If my quarterback goes for 428, and I'm watching the stats because I want to quote each stat, 428 with 4 touchdowns. My receiver goes 8 receptions, 264 yards with 3 touchdowns. And we don't win, I'll be feeling a certain way. And I get it. Ace, I'll let you start because oddly enough, I actually feel because where we are in this defenses, I actually thought the defense were atrocious again because where these defense sit, even though one gave up 35 and the other one gave up 34. But what do you think it was? Because the Bengals jumped for a big start out of the get-go, right? Like that first almost half, the Ravens barely did anything. And the Bengals offense were moving the ball.
Yep.
And one thing that I have noticed in the past 2 weeks, the Ravens offense has been so good this year. The teams go on fourth down like crazy. This is not just the Bengals. The Broncos did it too. Broncos went out for like 4 times in the first from the first quarter throughout the game. They went on fourth down like 4 times. And it's the pressure of that offense. But Ace, what do you thought it was happening in this game?
Yeah, I think the Bengals coming into this game, no T. Higgins, no Orlando Brown Jr., I thought that they played a hell of a game to start the game, defensively and offensively, right? Like I didn't expect them to be able to really slow down the Ravens offense early on. I thought that they did a pretty good job of trying to contain Derrick Henry, actually for the most part throughout the game.
They did.
And I just think that they realized that this was a game. The way that they played this game was like the season was on the line, going forward on fourth down constantly. I'm not mad about them going at fourth down as many times as they did. The execution of it, though, was a little I don't know if I agree with some of it.
Yeah.
I think the defense, a lot of people jumped on the defense, right? And I feel like the defense did their part. However, there were points in this game where they did not play complementary football, both units at the right times. And I think when that kind of happened was when the Bengals came in the second half and the defense was able to get the stop early, force the punt. Bengals were able to score. They were able to force a punt again. And then the Bengals end up fumbling. Like once that happened in the game, to me, like when that point happened, before that point happened, I'm like, okay, the Bengals might be able to get a really commanding lead here. Up 2 scores already, possibly going up 3. And then you get the Chase Brown fumble in your own territory. And I'm just like, for all those people that don't believe in momentum, I don't understand how, if you watch football, it happens every time when a team loses the momentum and you get the crowd back into it, you're on the road, it just never fails. And from there, it just kind of seemed to me to be somewhat of a snowball effect. From an offensive standpoint, it was frustrating to watch for me because Burrow was under siege all game, got hit 13 times. Literally something that we've seen as Bengals fans is what is this Zach Taylor offense? I don't know what the Zach Taylor offense is because anything that he schemed up this season doesn't work, and then they have to basically go off of structure and just make a play and throw it up to Jamar Chase. And that literally was what they were doing this game.
It
Like
worked.
every play kind of broke down. It worked because you got Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. But he took a lot of unnecessary hits, I think, in this game just because the interior of this offensive line. I'm so tired of talking about the interior of this offensive line. I feel like I've been talking about it for the last 3 seasons. They just got completely outclassed in this game. I think the offense gave you too little too late at the end of the game, right? The times that they needed them to convert, that allowed the Ravens to get back into the game. And the reason that I'm not going completely crazy on the defense either is if you would have told me that in this game, Zay Flowers was to have 30 yards, Derek had 60 yards, I'm thinking that the Mark Andrews, 60 yards and a touchdown. I'm like, okay, the Bengals won that game. They did what they needed to do defensively, and obviously they did not. And the Tylan Wallace play, that's the only play I look at the defense.
That was horrible.
What the hell are you guys doing? That is no effort. Logan Wilson has to push him out of bounds. Somebody has to do something. It allows them to get back into the game. But the offense let them down too. Like they still had a 2-score lead at that point. They get a 1-score lead, but they weren't able to do anything with it. They come back. I'm not mad about the decision to go for it on
for 2.
For 2, right? My issue is who you went to for the game on the line is not Jamar Chase, a guy that had 260, a guy that's like the current Triple Crown leader right now is the guy that you decided not to go to for Tanner Hudson. Like, come on, dog. Like
I have a question about that because I actually saw, I was on Twitter and I saw you tweeting and I was tweeting as well. And even on the play that there was a pick by Stevens that there wasn't a pick. I think he said, like, why are you not going to Chase? But when is it Joe Burrow's decision to throw to whoever, right? Like Chase wasn't one-on-one. Like you can complain when Zach calls the timeout. I was like, God, good, because Stevens was there in an island.
Stevens was one-on-one with I just don't. It's the Zach Taylor experience. You're playing against the offensive line. You're playing against your own offensive play caller. But to me, that's still on Joe, right? Like at the end of the day, Zach Taylor isn't throwing the ball. I don't care what Zach calls. If the game is on the line, I'm going to Jamar Chase. I don't even care if Jamar Chase is double team, triple team. You still go for Jamar Chase. So the decision making on that play, and then you also talk about the 3rd and 1 and the 4th and 1 where they didn't get it and they turned over on downs before that. I'm like, how are you not targeting Jamar Chase? And I'm one of the biggest guys that said that they should get Burton on the field. But I'm not going to Burton on a 40-yard pass when I only need 1 yard to get a first down to live another day. I don't like for me, I just was kind of confused by Joe's decision making on that. And that's not something that I question much with Joe Burrow at all. And I'm not here to rag on Joe Burrow, but I've got to keep it a buck. Like, bro, you got to go to Jamar Chase in those situations. So for me, it was frustrating to see. It was encouraging to see that they had a lead in this game. They got up, they went up to Baltimore and did that. But at 4-6, I can't be happy about that. Like at this time, you're just looking like a team that knows how to lose ball games. That's what they ended up doing in this one. It's disappointing because they put up a good fight. I'm not, like I said, I'm not second guessing the decision to go for the win at all. There were some people like, oh, you kick a field goal. Look, the Bengals couldn't stop Lamar at all. Lamar and that offense were getting whatever they wanted at the end of that game. I don't have any faith that the Bengals all of a sudden were going to stop Lamar Jackson in the red hot Ravens offense after they gave up so many consecutive points. So I think you made the right move. It just didn't work out. People can talk about the refs. Yes, I feel like the refs missed a call there. But still, at the end of the day, you should have been going to Jamar Chase. At the end of the day, the Ravens ended up getting a win. You got swept by the Ravens. And now you're 4-6, and you have to win these games. There's no more excuses. There's no room for error. I feel like a broken record because I feel like I've been saying that this entire season. But yet again, this is another one where I'm feeling like deja vu, where Bengals surrender a lead to the Ravens, end up losing the game. And now you're talking about a team that's 4-6. So it's disappointing. At this point, I don't know who you really look at because from a defensive side of things, now the one thing I will say is the pass rush was non-existent. Like they don't have any answer for Lamar when it comes to that. Whenever Lamar gets out of the pocket, when he gets into his out of structure stuff, they just have no answer for it at all.
Yeah.
They don't have anything that they have going on there. The secondary has played horrible. The tackling has been an issue. So with this defense, you just can't put that defense in any kind of position. They expect them to help you win a game. So I think that's what led to the decision making there. But yeah, 4-6. Like how they fought, but you're 4-6. So I mean, if you didn't lose that game early in the season to the Patriots, or you didn't lose the first Ravens game, you could sit here and say that. But as it stands right now, like, bro, you gotta put up or shut up. Like, I'm not here to celebrate. Oh, Joe Burrow threw for 400 and Jamar Chase went off and he's going crazy. And it's like, at the end of the day, you're 4-6, bro. I'm not here for the stats or any of that. I'm not doing the LeBron Pat stat and celebration right now. Right now, it's about wins, and the Bengals aren't winning.
Jared, you want to go, and then I can finish it out?
Yeah, it was annoying. Like I was on my couch watching, and just that was the biggest thing that came out. Like that was annoying to watch the Bengals mess this up. Second time this year where they've had a 2-score lead on Baltimore and should have had the game on ice and just immediately kind of squander it. And yeah, the play calling was the biggest blunder for me. Ace pointed out the consecutive plays where they go to Jermaine Burton on deep balls, one of which was 4th and 2, like 3rd and 2, 4th and 2, or 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, whatever it is. You need a yard or two to just move the chains, keep the drive going, and that was what you decided to. It just didn't make a lot of sense to me. I also was very much team, all right, go for 2, get the win, because if you just go for the tie, there's zero guarantees that your defense stops Lamar from getting down the field to kick a game-winning field goal. Totally get it. But the choice to go to Tanner Hudson rather than a single covered Jamar Chase, who had 100 or over 200 yards, 11 catches, multiple touchdowns. He was playing out of his mind, and you decide not to go. It just didn't make a lot of sense to me. So not angry at the decision, angry at the choices after the snap. And it just did not make a lot of sense. And I think that's kind of the the summary of Bengals Chiefs or Bengals Ravens this year in both games. Was like, all right, a lot of this play calling doesn't make sense, because they did in the first matchup too, where Zach basically took the ball out of Joe's hands, and that kind of cost them in the first matchup. And now it was a very winnable game that they had in hand, where they were going up and down the field on the Ravens defense. Now, granted, the Ravens had multiple chunk plays against the Bengals defense as well, but yeah, the Tylan Wallace play, man, like you got to get him. No disrespect to Tylan Wallace, but if Tylan Wallace
he's a burner.
He's fine. You can replace Tylan Wallace tomorrow. Like if Tylan Wallace is beating you, bro, like come on. Like that's
in that play, the Bengals didn't look like they were interested in playing. Maybe they were tired. I'm assuming they thought he was out, but you play until the whistle, right?
Yeah, I mean, Logan Wilson gave him a shove. There was somebody, I think, before Wilson. It was a Geno Stone. Yeah, so.
Double agent. He's a double agent. He's not beating the double agent allegations.
So, there was a lot of stuff that just self-deprecating stuff for the Bengals. And look, I say this, and I'm going to continue to say this after that. I still think somehow they're going to get in. Like, I say that every week, and I still say it just because, like, I've called Denver frauds all year, and you look at that, they're 5-5 now. Like, you're all right, you're only a game behind the Broncos, the Dolphins. I don't care that they just beat the Rams, they're done. The Jets, they're done. The Patriots aren't making any sort of run. Like right now, you're just worried about getting a wild card spot. And right now in the AFC, really, I think that there are 6 teams that you could probably lock into spots, and it's the 4, or I guess 5, really. Or
yeah,
I guess you
with the Ravens and Steelers.
You can throw the Chargers in there as well because they're 6-3 and playing well. So I mean that's
6.
That remaining spot, like I don't think it's going to be the Broncos. Like I said, I think that Denver is very much a fraudulent team.
The Colts?
Nah, it's not going to be the Colts, man. Colts aren't good. So I do think that even if it's as a 9-win team, I think that could probably get you in there. Tiebreakers might hurt you a little bit, but if they get to 9 wins, I do think that the rest of the AFC is just kind of eating itself alive and poached off each other, where that could get the job done. So still not counting them out. Again, I know that all of these losses, these close losses, are a pain to go through, especially two to Baltimore, 1 to Kansas City. Yeah, that's hard to swallow. And yet, I still think that they'll be the 7 seed. And if that's the case, like whoever the 2 seed is, I don't want to see Cincinnati if that's the case. We're like,
right now,
great,
Buffalo.
Yeah, like if I'm the Bills, especially, like, we saw what Cincinnati did to Buffalo a couple years ago in the playoffs. So obviously, it's a different team without Joe Mixon and everything, but. Yeah, I do think that if the Bengals get in, nobody's gonna, be like, oh, great, we got the Bengals, we'll be fine. Like nobody's gonna want to see them if they do get in, and I still think that they will.
I had a little skid here. I was gonna bring the broom, and then I remember we might see the Bengals in the playoffs, and I stopped myself.
Honestly,
bring the chain out, Sonny. Bring the broom out. Bring it all out.
The funniest outcome to me would be Bengals Ravens wildcard weekend, and the Bengals beat them.
I know you would love that.
I would.
Oh
my goodness,
I know.
that would be.
That would chef's kiss for you.
That would be porn to me. That
it would be great if.
Be great.
It would be great if he plays the Steelers too.
That's fine. Okay, I would love that too.
Okay,
if it's Ravens Steelers, bring it on.
No. It's like either of us is gonna be the 2. If anything, either of us is gonna be the 2 seed, right? Like, if it's not the Bills, it looks like it's gonna be either the Ravens or the Bengals.
Ravens the Steelers. I don't want to play the Bengals in the wild card. No.
Yeah, nobody wants.
Okay. No, let's take away from.
Let me say this. I have a super chat that I want to read before. Here says Game On 513 says, hey, hello Ace, how are you doing, bud? You missed my call, buddy. We stink again this year. Could I bandwagon the Ravens, Sonny? Also, where is that boy Q at? Q cannot make it.
That seems like it's a parody account, but I don't think that's the real Game On. But yeah.
Saying that, like, this is a game that how it started. I was pissed at my couch. I was barking at my kids. I'm like, you leave me damn alone. I don't want to talk to y'all. I don't want to hear from y'all.
That's always bad luck, son. You never bark at your kids during a game.
I was like, go to bed. My youngest daughter was like, can I watch the game? Like, they're playing stupid right now. I don't want you to watch this shit. I don't want you to watch this. I'm embarrassed how they're playing. And I tweeted, like, the Ravens are playing with no fire. How this game started, the Ravens are playing 0 fire. They came out as flat as you can come out. On defense, on offense, the Bengals were doing good. They were playing well. But also the Ravens, man, they were not playing good. They were flat. I think there were a couple of times that I think, Jerry, you brought it out with the 4th and short. They went deep. The Ravens did the same shit on a 3rd and short. They went deep. I'm like, why are you not just getting your first down and keep going? You don't have no momentum right now. It's not like you're killing them. And let's just shuck it on a 3rd and 2. What are we doing? The fumble happens. And thank God, because Sonny here was about to lose his mind before the fumble. Right? If you think about it, I wanted to get the timeline right. In the 3rd quarter, it was 14-7 half. I'm like, okay. Somehow we're 14-7. Okay, because we shouldn't have been 14-7 how we were playing. But again, Bengals were going for it. And I will say this, the defense is lucky that this offense is so deadly. The teams are just going for it right now like crazy. And when they don't hit it, it gives us a short field. I believe that first touchdown that we scored was on a shorter field too. But then in the 3rd quarter, and I'm like 14-7, the Ravens had the ball in that 3rd quarter starting. I'm like, we can tie it and we come 3 and out. I think it was 3 and out. Or maybe we had a first down and then we punted. And then bomb. No, it wasn't a bomb. I think that was the Yamar Chase that he juked somebody and then he went for 67 yarders. Right? And then what do the Ravens do? They punt again. And I'm like, shit. What are we going to do here? Now we're down 21-7, and they're driving. You guys were driving again, and the fumble happened. And if you want me to teach Zach Taylor is when the fumble happens, something switched in Zach Taylor. Like one of the things that I was frustrated was, even though the number for Chase Brown don't look great on the run game, he was breaking a couple of 7-yarders over there,
Yeah.
which was keeping our linebacking honest there, right? And it was making people go down a little bit. And then you guys went one dimensional. And you can say, well, Sonny, the Bengals and they're losing the lead. But I'm not saying at that point, because there was a point that the Bengals were down 28-20, 28-21. But I'm saying when there was 21-14, Bengals shouldn't panic. To be honest, Bengals shouldn't panic at that point. We scored, but it was because of a fumble. Before that, we just punted twice in the third quarter. After that fumble, everything crumbled. The Ravens scored 4 times in a row, right? There was the Jamar Chase bomb in there. The safety, for some reason, Marcus Williams decided to play whoever was running the out route. So whenever somebody was running the out route, he's like, I'm following that guy. Chase might be passing me by. I don't care. And then a big bomb to Jamar Chase, 70-yard. Look, game on. You're about to be timeout.
I already got
no?
him.
Okay.
He's gone.
Yeah. Okay. So what I was saying is, at that point, the momentum, as I said, a shift, and I don't. Something happened in that moment with the offense, because again, equally the defense panicked, and to be fair to the Bengals defense, look, that defense was gassed because there was twice that the Bengals scored, like in one play, and I think another was in 3 plays, and they score, right? So the defense is coming back on the field. I mean, you're great because, hey, you score, but also on the other side, that defense is getting gashed. So that's why I hated that they went for 2. As soon as you score, I'm like, they're going for 2. Because the defense is tired. If Lamar gets the ball first, that game is done. It's done. Right? So the 2-point, look, the Ravens were gonna do the same thing. Remember in that week first against the Chiefs, when likely they score a touchdown, they were going for 2, and then they said no touchdown. If you have the momentum, you go for it in that point. Did I love the play call? Yes, I did. I did, because it didn't work. I was afraid they were going to throw it to Chase. As Ace said, I thought they were just going to have Chase one-on-one, or have him come through a drag route through the middle of people and pop on the other side, because this Ravens defense was lost. The secondary was lost again. They had no answer. I also tweeted like, look, stop Uno. That's all you need to do. Man, anybody else beat you. But nah. One thing, and I had meant to do a video about this, because this will sound strange, meaning that Burrow put so many yards, but the corners actually play decent when they were playing man coverage. The problem is, half of the game we were not playing man coverage, and every time we play zone, we were getting eaten alive. Other than Jamar Chase, and Chase Brown got a lot of dump off, and he put a lot of yardage that way. Other than those 2, the other guys were fine, but Jamar Chase just kill you, and he always kills us. To be honest, Jamar Chase, he must love playing the Ravens. That's his favorite team too. We're food to him. Look, the Ravens win by 1. Jamar Chase looks great, and this is a perfect scenario for me, because Coach now can shoe the secondary, and Jamar Chase's salary just went up. Pay him more. At this point, open his checkbook, give him all the monies. He deserves it, by the way. But also, I'm all in for him getting paid every penny, so that cap space hits it a little harder.
Huh? Best receiver in the league?
I mean, he's playing as the best receiver in the league this year. Isn't he?
Does that make the people that are like, oh, I can't wait until T. Higgins is gone? How do you feel now after that game?
Well, so the thing is, this is a controversial take that I have, and I understand it. And Jared, I know you haven't heard it, but there's only, if your quarterback, and I said this about Lamar too, if your quarterback is this guy, like top tier, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, Pat Mahomes, you really cannot come in as this quarterback is sucking 20% of your cap space and give him 2 more people that is going to sack 15 and 10 more. And then between 3 people on one side, you're just going to have all this money on the same side, because now the rest of the team, you have to just draft perfectly. right? If you draft perfectly, you're fine. But if you don't, then your defense is gonna suffer. Your O line's gonna like that's the problem. If you just pay, because T Higgins is gonna come in what, top tier, like top 5 money wise. He's gonna come in top 5 money coming in the offseason. And Jamar Chase
I
is
think he probably gets like the Pittman money, maybe slightly
Yeah,
more
I
than
don't think
that.
he's gonna get. I don't think he's gonna get like a Jalen Waddle, CD Lamb, Jamar Chase, anything
if
don't
he
like that. I
makes
think
it.
he'll be in that like next tier.
You saw what Calvin Ridley made.
He got 492.
Okay,
So do that
Calvin
math real
Ridley
quick.
has been a shell out of what T Higgins has been. Now the question with T is health, right? If he makes it to free agent, how many people want the
Somebody now,
receivers?
I will say
Somebody will
this.
pay him top 5 money.
I think if you would have paid T Higgins this offseason, I think like 23, Calvin really got 23. Like that's
Yeah.
peanuts compared. Like Jamar Chase is gonna get 40.
Yeah.
But I will say this.
So
There
T's
may be
probably
a team
what?
that is super desperate because it always happens, a really bad, super desperate team that could offer him like 35.
I don't even think it's going to be a bad, super desperate team. I think it's just going to be a team on the rise that has the money to overpay, and I think it's
To
going to be
do it.
I think it's going to be Washington because I think that they
Yep.
have a ton of money next year. They have the most cap space in the NFL. And you know,
exactly.
if the team's offering Higgins like, all right, we'll offer you 26, the Commanders could say, yeah, we'll cough up, 2 more
28.
million and give it to him just to have.
And that's my point. If you were gonna pay T Higgins, it had to be like 2 years ago. And that at that point it would have been affordable. But at this point, you can't. You can't because now where he's at, he knows he's getting a big pay raise at the end of the year, right? So the Bengals cannot say, well, can you do this for the team? We can stay together. Because he's probably, no, man, this is probably gonna be my only big contract. And like Jerry said, there's a couple of teams out there that coming up, right? Think about the Bears too, because the whole Allen didn't pay out. And that was their big receiver because DJ Moore is a smaller receiver. Awuzie, I didn't like the guy coming out of college, but okay, he's gonna be also like the speed kind of guy with Moore. But where's their 50-50 guy? Where's that end zone presence, right? That red zone threat. That could be T. Higgins. Like there's a couple young quarterbacks still that they probably want somebody like T. Higgins. That's all I'm saying. So it's hard to have that much tied up into one side of the ball, especially when there's one ball to go. Anyway, that being said, the Bengals, the Ravens. Look, the Ravens, I understand all the calls. The problem is the call that got magnified was that at the end because it was a missed call. The Gesicki hold, let me start with that one because I saw that's the first one that people were talking about. I couldn't remember that Gesicki complained so much in a game. I swear I saw Gesicki complain to the ref when nobody was around him. Like Gesicki was barking at the refs all game. On the hitting the helmet, whatever you call personal foul, that's a blatant missed call. Even the Gesicki one, the problem with Gesicki was when he was trying to sell it, nobody was touching him at that moment. Early in the game, there was like that first touchdown that the Bengals went on 4th down that they call holding on Stevens. If you go back and watch that play, Jamar Chase clearly pushes Stevens, and as he's pushing him and extending Stevens, trying to grab him, which he hold him, but it was a push off first. I would have liked for them to either not call it, but obviously that would have been perfect for me because it would have been incomplete. We had the ball, or upset penalties. This ref crew was terrible throughout the game, and there was other ones. Even in that one that Joe Burrow got hit in the helmet, the center was bringing. I think it was Rodman Washington that hit him. Was bringing him down, holding him down. As he's bringing down, Washington extends the hand and hits him in the face. Now you can say, Sonny, well, then call it offsetting penalty, holding in a personal foul, and the Bengals leave another down. Yes, you're correct. Again, the problem is this referee was trash. It was bad. It was bad throughout. It was bad throughout the game. And as I always say, when early in the game I saw that this referee was bad. Like again, they were missing calls left and right for both teams. You as a team need to overcome that. You had to say, this is how they're calling the game, right? The personal fouls weren't really being called because there was more than that one that got missed. There was another one on Burrow that got missed. There was one on Lamar Jackson that got missed, and they really weren't calling them. So you have to know this, right? The Bengals O-line was a big factor in this game. Joe Burrow got hit. I mean, at one moment he looked to be in pain. Ace, I don't know after the game
Yep.
if something has come out, but he definitely looked in pain. He was getting hit, and I didn't see that the Bengals were doing anything scheme wise to slow down the pass rush. I mean,
They
there was some
weren't.
dump off. Yeah, there was some
They
dump off
weren't.
to the running back, but there was no. Let's put a screen here, a couple of screens to make sure the pass rush stayed honest. No, we were just going through them and just hitting Burrow. And man, like I said, I felt bad for Burrow at one point because I mean, damn, this guy's getting cloggered. In the case of Lamar Jackson is a tough guy to sack, and you guys got to him a couple of times. But remember what I said that how we play Washington, right? You had to basically collapse the pocket slowly, just to basically cocoon that pocket. If you got one free rusher, which is how Bengals were doing it, usually one free rusher, and then Lamar can juke that guy, and now it becomes a background yard, right? Like a backyard playground type of style of football, and Lamar Jackson will kill you.
Yep, that plays right into his hands.
Yeah. So he's great in the pocket, but the way to approach Lamar Jackson is really collapsing the pocket, and that takes 4. And the Bengals didn't have all 4 playing in sync at that moment. You look, Trey Henderson had a good game. He had penetration a couple of times, just couldn't finish it. There was the one play that he's hanging on Lamar Jackson, right? He's touching his leg as Lamar Jackson's just throwing it. So this is a tough game to lose, obviously, for the Bengals. And for the Ravens, it was a good win. There's a lot of soul searching that this Ravens secondary needs to do as they're playing terrible. Again, I don't think it was their worst game, but definitely you have to think why you're not watching Jamar Chase. Like if anybody else beats you, whatever, but Jamar Chase, especially after he had that one touchdown, you had to have him bracket him. And they decided to nah, we're gonna play zone against Jamar Chase. Nah. This is what Sagor, it has me irritated right now. Definitely the fumble was the key of the game. And I said it I would be surprised if any of the two teams were gonna get blown out. Well, the Ravens looked like they were about to get blown out. And then I said the difference in this game could be a turnover. And the fumble definitely was the difference in this game. Look, if we want to talk about the Bengals, the problem that I see with the Bengals, I agree with you, Jared. I think they will make the playoff, but if they make the playoff, it's to the expense of who? Right? At most, they can lose one more game. At most, right? Because that puts them in 10-7. They have to play the Chargers now. If they beat the Chargers, haven't played us. They haven't played the Bengals. So if we both beat them, that brings them to 5 still, not 6 losses, right? But I think the Chargers probably have at least one more Chiefs game. We'll see, because I don't know what to make about the Chiefs team. The Bengals have the Steelers twice, and that's the key. What are you gonna do with the Steelers? I said it when I said if the Bengals lose to the Ravens, you almost are forced to sweep the Steelers because your margins of error are getting almost none. To be honest, ideally, if you're going to lose again, you want to lose the Cowboys game because that's the NFC game. I'm not saying that you will lose to them, but that's the one that you want to lose and then sweep all the AFC teams, right? Take the Browns out, take the Chargers, take the Steelers, and then your AFC record gets higher. But the Steelers look good, and you almost have to sweep it and at worst go 1-1. And that's going to be a hard thing to do, and that is the problem. So it's not like the Bengals record or schedule is super hard, right? The next 2 games are pivotal. We're talking about Chargers in LA, right? So cross country on Sunday night. Then they come quickly to the Steelers, right? No, they have a bye. So that's the good thing. They have the bye, and then they go to the Steelers. Okay. After that, you get 2 fairly easy opponents, right? Cowboys in Tennessee. And Browns, I mean, that's a divisional opponent, so I can't say that's a pushover. Then you get the Broncos and the Steelers, right? Half of those opponents are beatable. The other half is the problem. Can you wipe those other half out? That's the question. Like I said, I think you can lose one of those games, but not 2. I don't think they can make it with 2. I think they can make it with 1 because to the point that Jerry had.
You're saying that 9-8, you don't think that they can make it?
It's tough because your AFC
I
record.
think whichever team now, the tiebreakers and stuff, they could lose out on that. But I think that final team is going to be 9-8. I do think that
If you're
final
gonna
seed is
go,
going to be.
if you go and go 9-8, then you have to beat the Broncos. You have to beat the Chargers, just in case one of those two teams are the 7th seed.
Yep, I agree.
The
I agree because I
Broncos.
think that you're going to drop at least. I think that we'll drop at least one of those Steelers games. I think that the Steelers, and I think that it could potentially, depending on how this week plays out, the Chargers are, I think, the toughest one on there too. So I think to me, it's between the Steelers and the two Steelers games and the Chargers games.
Those are your
going to
harders.
define.
Yep.
Yeah, those ones are going to define it.
Yeah, but think about, look at the Broncos. They play the Falcons. The Falcons. I don't know what to make of the Falcons. I parlayed them, and I lost money because
Falcons are a good team, man. I said it from early on when the Steelers got that. When the Steelers got that win over there, I was like, I think the Falcons are going to be a
my
good
problem
team
with the Falcons, they're inconsistent, right? Are they a good team? I think they are a good team when they want to play good.
6-3?
They just lost to the Saints.
Yeah, I just lost to New Orleans. I don't think they've had a bye.
I
so I
mean,
think
it's
now.
divisional though, bro. Come on, like
the Saints are playing.
Plus
so
the interim coach bump as well. So
Yeah,
I don't put
I
mean that they should have won. Don't get me wrong, but stuff happens.
Like you got to think about it, Sonny. The Ravens lost to the Browns. That's not happening unless it's a divisional game. There's no way that you guys lose to them if it's just a team that's out of the division.
So then the Broncos. So Broncos played them in Denver. So that's I will lean Broncos in that.
I need the Falcons to win that game.
Then they play the Raiders. Then they play the Raiders. Then they play the Raiders. Then they play the Browns in Denver. Then they play the Colts in Denver. And this is the kicker. This is where Denver money is. Last 3 games. They play the Chargers in LA. They play the Bengals in Cincinnati. And they play the Chiefs finishing out. Now, if the Chiefs are perfect, they're probably going to play everybody because they want to make that perfect. If the Chiefs already lost one, they're probably going to sit people out. And although they probably are going to try to not let the Broncos make it. I think the Cincinnati Bengals make it, to be honest. I think they're good enough. I think they're a good team. If they don't make it, if it was my team, I would like for heads to be roll. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, for sure.
Okay, we have a super chat here, and then we'll move to the next game. Noah Stone here says, LJ really the Peyton of this era? Is this his 2006? I don't know, Noah Stone. I hope
this is
so.
Looking like his 3rd MVP, the way that it's shaping up.
Yeah, I mean, he's playing insane. I will get like Lamar. Ace, even you had to appreciate that.
Nah, I didn't appreciate that at all. Nah, that's why Jamar came back with the. Yeah. Nah, I didn't appreciate that.
Oh, Jamar came down and he put that chain, and then there was a meme out there with that chain with the L. By the way, there's a lot of ice in that chain. There was hell of a lot of ice in that chain. Okay, there's another game, not a divisional game. But there's another really good game. I watched this game because I'm here. I get all the Commanders game. This was an interesting game. By the way, the score is higher than it should be. There was a muff punt. I cannot be a GM. I would have cut this kid, whoever this kid is. He muffed one, then he muffed the second one. Hating life with this kid muffed the second one. And then the Steelers also went on a punt. By the way, Jared, I don't know how you feel. I thought that was the right play to do. This guy's completely open. There's nobody in sight, right? Like the fake punt.
I was stressing for a little bit during the game.
You hated that play?
No. It was the right call. It was
the guy was wide open. The guy drop it. It was a good pass too.
Killebrew definitely checked it at the line, and then long snapper Christian Kuntz, like you can see it on the 22, like definitely like shifts to snap it to Killebrew. James Pierre's wide open, and he just drops it. So overall, though, man, like this game was one of the more like in terms of wins, definitely like one of my favorites in a long time, just because of how they did it. You know, I talked about wanting to see them be able to hang in a shootout, and they did, and they didn't just hang; they won one. And ESPN put up a stat the Steelers were 0-9 over the last 2 seasons, or since Ben Roethlisberger retired, in games where their opponent scored 24 or more points. So any game where the opponent had any semblance of offense, they usually lost because their offense was just that bad. And seeing them not only put up points and win a game like that, but also come back from a double-digit point deficit in the second half, come all the way back and win, get clutch plays from their defense when they needed it, have Russ play really great when they needed him to. And the numbers aren't going to show it. I think he went 14 of 28. So not like anything sexy. But if you look at his passing charts, he's just chucking it all game long. It was downfield all game. And it paid off with the touchdown to Mike Williams. It paid off with the first touchdown pass to George Pickens, which, again, if you give Pickens a chance, odds are he's going to come down with these things. And again, like, he just keeps showing that week in and week out. Shout out to JP Acosta, because he had a funny tweet. They showed that play where he caught like a screen pass and just like is grabbing Benjamin St. Juice's face mask because he's running down the sidelines. And JP said that nothing goes through George Pickens' head except for Young Boy lyrics and CTE. And that made me laugh pretty hard. So Pickens had a really big game. Russell Wilson had a great game. Obviously, the Mike Williams in his debut, he has one catch, but it's a 32-yard touchdown that puts them over the top. The defense, like, they started off incredibly strong where Jaden looked flustered. They didn't have any sort of long drives in the first half, or I guess in the first, I would say like 25 minutes. And then the Steelers down them inside the 5 with, I think, like 4 or 5 minutes left in the first half. The Commanders go like 15 plays and score a touchdown. And then they start off with the ball in the second half. Terry McLaurin gets a big chunk play and they score again. All of a sudden it's 24-14. And the Steelers, they've been in this situation before over the past couple of years where, all right, it's a 10-point deficit. That's a death sentence in recent years. If Kenny Pickett's still the quarterback, they're not winning that game. If Mitch Trubisky's there, they're not winning that game. And I think that this was one of those wins that, like, Steelers fans have craved because they just want to see that they can hang and that they can come back when they're playing from behind, which is something they haven't been able to do in recent years. So it was really good to see that happen. Najee didn't have like the best game, but he got into the end zone. Jaylen Warren had a nice game though. Led the team in rushing. He looked really good. So it's nice to see that Jaylen Warren, he's kind of been due for a big game, and I think he had his best game of the year. Pat Freiermuth got into the end zone. Oh, Patrick Queen though. Shout out to Patrick Queen.
He was playing good.
By far his best game as a Steeler. Was blowing up run gaps. Looked really good sideline to sideline. It's really good speed. Nose for the ball. Deshaun Elliott had a really nice game. And we crapped on James Pierre for dropping the punt, and then he accidentally makes one of the plays of the game because Noah Brown is open down the sideline because he shook him with a double move. Jaden underthrows it a little bit, and Pierre's just trying to catch up to Noah Brown. The ball hits him in the helmet, and that prevents what could have been a big play. And then on the Commanders' final drive, Jaden throws it to Zach Ertz, and to me, it looked like a first down. Like, on TV, I was like, all right, yeah, that looked like a first down, but he's coming back to the ball. Didn't really have any sort of forward progress because he wasn't touched until he started extending back to the line to gain. They ruled it short. No evidence video-wise could overturn that. The Steelers get the ball, and then the hard count, Johnny Newton jumps off sides, and Russ does a little dance. Steelers win. Overall, I don't know about how you felt watching it, Ace, but after it like, that was something that I needed to see to be able to say, okay, this team can actually contend with the top dogs in the AFC. Yeah. As I said, coming into the year, I think they were going to be better by default just because you don't have Kenny Pickett anymore. He was bad. You don't have Matt Canada anymore. He was bad. You upgraded parts on the defense. Like, to me, I said, tell me how good the quarterbacks are, and I'll tell you how far they can go. The quarterback looks pretty damn good, and the offense looks pretty damn good. They've scored 30 points a game since Russell Wilson took over. They look really good right now. So I think that having this defense that is as good as it is and an offense that's able to put up points and do so in abundance and also, come back when needed. This is a team that I think can make a run in the playoffs and contend, especially in an AFC where, I know the Chiefs are undefeated, but they look like they have cracks in their armor. I think Buffalo is still really good, but their run defense is suspect. So I do think that this is a team that can make some noise in the playoffs when that time does come, and it's it feels good to say that as a Steelers fan, because it's something that hasn't been able to say for a long time. So that win was really fulfilling and felt even better just because of how they did it.
I will say this. I'm going to take my L here. Russell Wilson. It was the right call.
Yeah, I think everybody's kind of taking that L right
yeah,
now. Yeah, it was the right call.
It was the right call. Why am I questioning doing it again to Mr. Tomlin? He had it right. It was the right call. Look, they played good against Jane Daniels. They did the right thing. They did the thing. They did the thing that I said the Bengals needed to do against the Ravens, right? That pocket. Close. There's nowhere for him to run. Now, it was interesting. This is probably James Daniels' first good defense that he faced, right? Like, we played him. Ravens are a good defense. He definitely looked anxious. He missed a lot of throws. There was a lot of throws. He hit Zach Ertz so many times behind. Like, if he hit... Now, I'm still not convinced that Zach Ertz didn't make it in the first down, in that 4th and goal.
It was a weird spot, weird situation. I thought that he got it. Like in real time, when I saw the catch, I thought that he got it.
Even in the replay, but the problem is, as they're showing the replay, where it looks like he made it, but the camera's cut to a certain place. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I thought he made it. I was hating life.
I don't think he made it after they kind of showed it, like, because the biggest factor is the person's hand touching him while his knee was down.
I believe that was Demonte Casey.
Yeah, where Casey touches him, he wasn't there. So it was because of that. Now, afterwards, he's like sticking his arm out and all of that.
Yeah,
but
not that.
His leg was already down and Casey already touched him. So it was nothing that was going to – I think when you saw it again on a replay after they slowed it down, it was clear that he didn't.
I think in the replay, I still think they made it, but I'm watching it with a different type of glass, right? I understand that I'm here trying to hate on the Steelers. Right? I get it. Like, I put my
at the beginning, I thought he made it too, just like Jared said. At first, I thought that he did it, but then when they showed like the replay and they showed the guy touching his hand, I'm like, oh, he didn't get it back to where he needed to get it at.
Yeah, but they play. My point is, Jaden Daniels look off in this game. He was throwing behind people. He was overthrowing people. Because remember, he's coming to this game as the highest complete percentage in the league. I believe he was like hitting like 70%, something ridiculous.
Highest completion percentage for a rookie up until this point, or something of that nature. Goff came into the week with 83% completion, so he was higher. Yeah.
Whew. But anyway, whatever, 70 is still insane. Like 80 is like ridiculous still. But he hit 50% is what I'm seeing. But again, he was off. Like even with Zach Ertz, he kept throwing behind him low. And I'm like, dude, like if you throw him to the numbers, he can catch and run a little more. He was definitely rattled. He was not ready for the pressure. Highsmith and Tia were living in the backfield. And also the front, Ogunjobi and company, Hayworth, they were there too. They were battling balls. Like the front itself was going crazy. Like you said, PQ had a great game. Anytime there's a gap that opened, PQ was there. It looked like the PQ back in Baltimore. He was like a missile, throwing through the gap, getting TFLs. This is a game like when the Commanders went up by 10, I'm like, okay, Commanders, come on. Now you can close this game. But again, Mike Williams with that long 34 yards, Cook, whatever the corner, what was it, St. Jude? Whatever the corner was.
I think it might have been St. Jude on him. I can't remember who was on him at the time. But yeah, regardless, the offense did what they needed to do, which was, by the way, the first time the Steelers won a game without kicking a field goal since week 16 of 2020 when they beat the Colts. So that was a very rare feat, not having to use Chris Boswell's leg to get the job done. 4 touchdowns on the day. I don't remember the last time the Steelers had 4 touchdowns in a game. Probably going back to Ben's final year. The offense looks really good, and it's great to see Russell Wilson playing as well as he has. Ever since he took over the starter, he's top 3 in passer rating. You look at the big time throws, he's top 5. So the offense has been very good, and you look at the defenses that they play the rest of the way. I mean, there's not a lot of. Obviously Kansas City's by far the best one, but Baltimore's pass defense isn't very good. The Bengals pass defense isn't very good. The Browns defense hasn't been very good this year. The Eagles are beatable, even though they've gotten better. So like this is an offense that can keep them in games, which is something that we haven't been able to say. So feel good about it. Feel good about them going into next week. Obviously, we'll talk about that game tomorrow, but feel really good about them right now. And this is a team that can make some noise in January.
So Ace, what was your thoughts on this game, man?
Yeah, man. I mean, time to take some victory laps. When the Steelers first scored, I think 30 or over 20, I said that this offense was here and they found their quarterback. Whether it was Russell Wilson, whether it was Justin Fields, they clearly fixed the quarterback position. That's been proven true. I said them getting those early wins early on was going to give them an advantage in the division. That's clearly true right now. I said that this game was going to be a shootout. A lot of people are like, oh, no, this isn't going to be a shootout. I'm like, no, this is going to be a shootout because the Washington Commanders can score. The Pittsburgh Steelers can score. You know, just the way that this game is going to go, I see it being a shootout. Now, I did get the victor wrong in this one. I did think, though, it's a tall order to beat the Steelers as a rookie, so I'm not surprised. And then the one thing that I forgot why they actually said during the game as I was watching it was the Steelers' bye week record. If I would have thought about that, I would have definitely picked the Steelers in this one. This one, I think, proved that the Steelers have weapons on offense. They can score. They can win these type of games now. I also said I'm still waiting for this one to cash out. I think the Steelers are one of the biggest threats to the Kansas City Chiefs this season. I don't think that the Chiefs match up with the Steelers well whatsoever, and I'm going to be very interested to see how that game goes. But this is a team that's one of the top teams in the AFC. Like we can not like them because they're division rivals, but as a true analyst and like just keeping it a buck, the Steelers are a good team. And the fact that they were able to win this game, I saw a lot of people saying, "Oh, the Commanders are fake now." No. The Commanders are real. The Steelers just ended up catching them slipping in this game. And then you're talking about if Johnny Newton doesn't jump off sides, who knows how this game ends up turning out. But credit to Russell Wilson and this offense for being able to come back, like Jared said, down multiple scores and being able to take control of this game there at the end. And then Mike Tomlin and this offense and whoever it was that was smart enough to say, hey, let's go with a hard count here on fourth down. Whoever made that decision is just a well-coached team. It's a organization that knows what to do in these situations. And it's clear now that they've gotten it figured out at the quarterback situation, which is what all of us were banking on is, oh, they don't have a quarterback. Well, now they've got a quarterback. They've always had the defense. They've always had the coaching. Now they have this. And so the Steelers are a legit team. This was a great win by them. And I think a lot of people were looking at this season and saying, okay, after they get out of this bye, are they going to be able to keep this thing going? I think that this game tells you, yeah, they're going to be able to keep it going. And this is a team to watch out for. And I think this is a team that is capable of winning a playoff game for sure. I think that they can win a playoff game as well. Like I said, I want to see how they do against the Kansas City Chiefs. I think that might be that game where the Chiefs end up losing for the first time this season.
Yeah, I mean, their schedule obviously gets a little tough here. They have the 2 games against the Browns, 2 games against the Bengals, 2 games against the Ravens, and the Eagles and Chiefs. So basically, it's the whole division plus Eagles and Chiefs. It's going to be interesting. We have one last super chat here before we close it out. Jared, are you a fan of Cody Rhodes?
Yeah, I'm a fan of Cody Rhodes. I don't know how that pertains to what I said. I'm sure they'll find a way to make it pertain to something I said. But yes, no, as a wrestling fan, yeah, I'm a fan of Cody Rhodes. I think he's great.
So, guys, with that, we'll close it out here. Tomorrow we're previewing Ravens and Steelers, right? Great matchup. The Bengals have also a very interesting matchup. To be honest, I can't remember who the Browns play. I need to check. So I can. Oh, they play the Aints. They play the Aints.
Saints.
A lot of ratings on that one.
Yeah. So come back here tomorrow around 4. That's where we're gonna be live previewing all this game. Until then, we'll see you next time. Peace out.